Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar with RevRag.ai. I'm Arushi. I'm the founder's office here at RevRag and your host for today's session. So, the topic that we'll be discussing today is conversational onboarding with AI. We'll talk about the customer's digital onboarding journey from start till the end. Joining me today are two guests. First up is Venkat sir. He is the ex MD and CEO at India Post Payments Bank with decades of experience around digital lending, banking strategy, and compliance. And then we have Neeraj here with us. He's the co-founder and CPO at RevRag.ai. So today we'll be diving into, the various touch points in the customer's digital onboarding journey, where voice plays a huge part, the welcome conversation, and different interaction points up till the end. We'll start by looking how conversations have evolved over the years and whether AI can realistically step in. Since Neeraj has joined, he's been closely working with the product and the enterprises, and he can tell us how people are taking AI voice as, and we'll also try to understand what the market is saying about it. So let's start the session.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Go
So,
ahead. Go
Neeraj,
ahead.
the first question is for you. So, because you've been working with deploying these AI voice agents, what are you seeing on the ground? How are the clients reacting to it? What are their thoughts? Are they stuck in the olden times where only human voices could be used for the welcome calls?
Sure, sure. So first of all, thanks Arushi for setting this up, right? I think this will be a very fruitful session, right? Since like I have been into this fintech lending slash credit card slash on the business loan sides, right? So there has been for sure a evolution, right from the start, right? Before the AI era versus now we are sitting in the AI era, right? So as we know that like today also a major chunk of these calls are being done in a manual way, right? So obviously there has been a mental model among the audience or among the users, right? So whenever basically a lender or basically a fintech calls these users, right, to help them, right? So see in fintech, you can see that like be it a credit card product or be it a lending product, right? So people are actually do have a serious conversations. So when I say serious conversations, they are actually looking forward for the help, right? So whenever these calls are being made from the fintech side, right? So people take it very seriously, or basically they have very serious conversations per se, right? They are actually looking forward for the help. So I think that like as long as these calls are empathetic, right, useful for these users, right, they appreciate, right? So users appreciate these calls, and they find themselves to be very comfortable with these calls. Now the question is, right, pre AI versus now AI, right? So our experience has been on the high level, and obviously we will deep dive more into that, right? Uh, Fintech is also very personal in nature, right? So let's say on the lending side, if you talk about the digital lending, or if you talk about the credit card, or if you talk about the collections, right? So earlier people used to talk with the human agents, and I have seen that like they used to appreciate the conversation with the those human agents, where they used to empathize or they used to understand the cases very well, right? And now the same AI is also mimicking in a way, right? So there is no judgments per se, right? And the AI has the same enthu as they are starting their fresh calls, right? So these calls are actually helping lending users in a way. So that is the summary on the high level. You are on mute, Arish.
Arushi, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thanks, Neeraj. I wanted to understand something from your perspective. You've seen onboarding evolve across decades. From your perspective, how did it happen earlier, and what has changed, and what will change and whether AI is making an impact here, and how it's going to be. I just want to hear from your
Yeah, yeah.
you.
So there are two components which are very, very critical in any customer interaction. I can say that these are time-tested elements. One is the element of assistance. The second is about the element of personalization. See, when it's an in-person conversation, and particularly in branch-based conversations, if I go back, pre 2000 era, where people used to visit branches, and the branch-based officers used to have complete context about the customers. I mean, they used to get personally involved, so much so that they know about each other. That's the level of personalization that a banker would have about his customers. And I can also tell you there are senior citizens who actually love to, I mean, they enjoy going to their bank and chatting with the bank manager, and they feel offended in case if you don't, give them the time. That's the kind of, conversation that are bond that gets established between a banker and their consumers. And second part is of course assistance, because sometimes banking can be a complex subject for a layman to understand, and that's where the element of assistance comes. But unfortunately, in the name of automation and digitization, some of these aspects got diluted over a period. So if you see in the digital interfaces currently that we are encountering, you have to do everything on your own. You have to understand, first of all, how the digital interfaces operate, understand how the flows happen. So it's total the individual perception and understanding about how these things work. Like, okay, people have learned these things over a period of time, and they try to just fall in line. But come now with AI, I think we are able to get that uh, benefit back, both the element of assistance and the element of personalization, because AI can have complete context of the customer right from the beginning, right? And whatever that you want to give in terms of additional information. And not only that, during the interactions, AI can also perceive and kind of understand what a customer needs, creating that additional context. So all these things I think would help in terms of bringing back that old legacy as far as consumer experience and customer service is concerned. That's the way I would look at.
Got it, sir. So, and now also because of AI, all the calls can be decoded, all the analytics can be seen, which is something that one person cannot do. A lot of people would be needed on the call to do it. Great, sir. Awesome. Awesome. So, okay, we've spoken quite a bit on the first impression. Now let's zoom out, and there are so many interaction points in this journey. So, for example, nudges for document upload, clarification calls for any document mismatch, KYC calls, reminders, and all. So, Neeraj, what is your thought on it? Where all can AI voice enter and make an impact, or probably assist the already existing human agent at that stage.
So see, like in any financial product, right? Obviously, an onboarding is involved, right? And onboarding, in a simple way, consists of some 5 6 steps, right? And each step has a particular function or objective to basically fulfill, right? So, for example, right from the start, right, be it user registration and then showing the offer, right, in case of the lending, or the limit, right, or basically the maximum credit card limit, or whatever it is, right, followed up by you can say you may uploading the salary or basically the documents, right, whatever is needed, and then proceeding it to KYC, right, and then agreement signing, right. So you see, all these steps are very critical in order to get these financial products, right. And user may get stuck on any of these steps, right. And the the usual reason why users get stuck, they it might be because they might not appreciate the information shown on the screen, for example, right. Or there could be some technical challenges as well, right. Or they may not basically understand a particular stuff, right, which they may never have heard, right. So I think that like eventually these AI agents works as very deeply as a relationship officer, right? Just like they used to work in previous times, right? So they would assist you as if they are sitting beside you, right, and helping you navigating all these steps, right? So that is how I look at it, right? This beautiful concept, right? Or this whole tech infrastructure is working towards as if they are just the assistant, right? An assistant who can empathize, or you can say a relationship officer, right, who is not judging you, who is basically continuously supporting you in each and every step navigating forward, right? So yeah, and wherever you have doubt, you can ask as if they are your friends, right? So that is how I look at it.
Right. And Neeraj, you also come with an experience of working with financial products. So while you were working, at your previous companies, um, like were did you see conversational AI being used anywhere in the process, or is it, probably now that it's coming into power and everybody's being more aware around it?
Sure. So I think there is a complete spectrum of the fintech companies in India, right? So some may be reluctant to use AI, but I see a lot of fintech companies have started experimenting with AI, especially in the onboarding stages, right? Why? Because you see in the onboarding process, everybody kind of has the same input and eventually deriving the same output of sort, right? So what extra you are trying to do, or what extra experience you are trying to give to your customer, how, what is that extra alpha you are trying to bring on that table? So I think everybody is trying to experiment with AI these days, right? So now people can look the whole process from the start of the funnel to mid of the funnel to bottom of the funnel, right? Depending on the priority, or basically you can say whatever the KRA they have set up for their companies, they would either experiment it on at the start of the funnel or mid of the funnel or bottom of the funnel, right? But somewhere they are using in one way or the other. And I think that, like, in my view, if 10 people are using, currently 6 to 7 companies at least, they're experiencing the positive outcomes from these experiments, right? And that is inculcating more confidence in them, right, to use it in full throttle, right? So I think it's moving in the positive direction, and that is also helping them to increase the efficiency or save them in the drop offs, right? Eventually uh, you know uh, translating in saving crores of rupees, right? So yeah.
No, no, absolutely. It's crazy how far we've come with AI and the capabilities, and how far we'll go in the future. Um, so, what do you think, are enterprises ready to give this kind of control to AI? And what do the leaders in banking, fintech, and insurtech space think about it?
Okay, in BFSS space, it's never about ceding control. I think one thing that we have to fundamentally understand is that there has to be a constant oversight, uh, and I can watch for this. There's a concept called maker checker in banking. Okay, so which means you always have to have two sets of people who would kind of oversee or execute the transaction. So one person does the transaction, the other person actually verifies it and then ensures that it is correct. So which means the concept of a maker checker will have to get embedded into this part as well. So which means A does something, to start with, A does something, and somebody like human would actually see whether the outcome is proper or not. So it's a matter of evolution. All I would say is that you will have to start small, start taking baby steps. Maybe start with the limited use cases like customer onboarding, where you don't have to really feed too much of data into AI, and then see how the conversation goes. And then over a period of time, you can better refine and train the models to converse better, right? And at the same time have some sort of an oversight. So over a period of time, you can actually make it completely autonomous also, because that's the capability of technology. And nowadays we are even looking at autonomous agents. And even within agents, let me tell you, there is a concept of guardian agent. Gartner's research talked about this quite extensively, where there are guardian agents. So within agent community, you can actually have some sort of agents who can have that kind of an oversight over what an AI agent can actually do. So within agent hierarchy, you can have that maker checker concept, and second, you can have a human to actually oversee the whole process. I think it's always good that you verify these things and satisfy yourself, and that's exactly even regulator wants, because definitely the technology can be very very transformative in terms of its impact, but at the same time you will have to understand that things have to be explained clearly, have to be documented clearly, so that you need to have some sort of an audit trail where people can actually verify it, whatever it may be. So which means you need to have, that kind of a process framework to address the explainability as far as AI technology is concerned. And definitely things are evolving. I think AI is no more about experimentation; it's about whether you do it or not. So it's more of a building competitive advantage for yourself, and then understanding AI and fit into your area of the business. Every enterprise might have a different way of looking at the AI deployment, and accordingly proceed.
Got it. So, like, so is there any reason that you see why, um, basically structuring these processes is taking time in BFSI? I mean, we haven't seen a lot of implementation of AI yet. It's a slow process here. Any thoughts on that? Why it's not picking up fast? What's the blocker? What's happening now?
Okay. See, it's actually it takes time in terms of anything new that wants to be deployed into BFSI space, because as I said, there are regulations and compliances to be taken care of. So first and foremost, how do you kind of align yourself with those set of compliances as far as regulatory is concerned? And second, also engaging with regulator. Whenever you are introducing this kind of new technology, it's important that we go back to regulator and say that this is a new technology that we are kind of introducing, and seek their inputs. And sometimes it's always better to engage in some sort of a consultative process with regulation, particularly when you are trying to introduce these kind of new technologies into any kind of decision making process. See, you may not require so much so in terms of introducing these conversational use cases as far as customer onboarding is concerned, but when it comes to certain decision making processes where you want to use this kind of technology, probably you will have to be more careful about what kind of compliance and regulatory norms become applicable. So there it becomes important for us to engage with regulation. But nonetheless, it's important that we will have to probably make this more understandable to the leaders within these enterprises as to how it would benefit, because ultimately this would have an impact on your overall ROA, ROI. And AI is all about ROAI. It's written on AI. That's how you will have to align for these enterprises, and make them or help them understand the benefits of this technology to various functional domains within these enterprises, be it the customer service, be it your risk management, or be it your HR. Even within HR, probably there are use cases or scenarios in which AI could be deployed. So it will be a slow progress, no doubt about it. But we'll have to keep engaging with these enterprises and help them understand the benefits.
Got it, got it. It's like an ongoing process.
Yeah.
Awesome, sir. So, Neeraj, I have this thing for you. I mean, we've heard everybody say that, AI is coming for jobs, AI will replace people and everything. It's easier said than done. So are you by any chance seeing AI replace roles, or whether AI is, assisting people become more efficient? How do you see it playing into, playing around voice AI, conversational AI?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, right? And very, very famous question as well. And personally, I feel that like it completely depends on the perspective of the stakeholders, whoever is running the business, right? So there are two school of thoughts, right? One is, do you see it as if they would take your jobs, right? or eliminate you, right? And second school of thought is whether you can use this whole tech or basically the whole infrastructure in increasing your efficiency and making your business 10x, let's say, right? So I think eventually, and I'm not saying that like it will not replace certain section of the jobs, right? Obviously, right? Certain section of the jobs would be replaced, right? But majority of them, it completely depends on the perspective, right? How do you see at it, right? But if we talk about the fintech, especially, I think the power lies if you see the whole uh, AI boon as if it can increase your efficiency by let's say 10x, and it is fair estimation as well, right? So, for example, just to give you a quick example, right? Earlier, a person used to uh, give 100 calls a day, right? Let's say assisting the customers that like, hey, hello sir, like can you upload your certain document, let's say pan or Aadhaar, right? Whatever it is, or salary proof or something like that, right? Now that can be completely automated in such a way that like that person may oversee or can do something more productive, right, rather than doing these calls, right? And this can be beautifully executed by AI, let's say, right? And now so the AI thing completely eliminates the time factor per se, right? Because let's say you have to call, let's say, 10,000 users in a day. Now you have to hire some x people, right? Now that can be completely replaced by AI, and now those x people can be utilized to do something more productive, right? So completely depends on the perspective, I must say, right? That like if you plan that like, hey, with this AI thing, right, or with this AI calling agent or whatever you are utilizing, right, I want to increase the business 10x, right? For sure you can go in that direction. So that is how I look at it.
Got it. Absolutely. And so, what any thoughts that you would want to give around this? That people say AI will replace roles, and um, what is your thought around it?
Okay, we've been seeing that for last uh, right from the industrial revolution, we're seeing this, that things, technology or anything new will take away your jobs. I think it's all about upskilling. Like as Jensen rightly said, that it's not that AI will take away jobs. It's probably people who understands AI better will take away your jobs. It's more like that. And we've also seen this kind of narrative and chatter, particularly when computerization was happening in banks. But then obviously what happened, there were more people who understood better about computers, and we are able to improve our productivity. See, ultimately, any new technology will improve your productivity. I think that's how it's going to be. My suggestion, I mean, again, I would kind of let loose my thoughts on this, is that the best thing that we all could do is do more and more have more and more understanding of AI, and probably utilize AI in our daily life in whatever way that we want. Like how we started using something like Google. We started using it for search. Anything that we don't know, we probably you started using Google. So similarly, at a personal level, if people start interacting with AI, that could probably kind of weed out any kind of misconceptions around this. Number one. And then at enterprise level, I would say that for leaders, I think they would like to definitely look at utilizing this technology. My suggestion is that you should look at deploying this for low hanging opportunities, particularly for customer interactions. And more importantly, I see that AI can be a good motivation, or can be a coach for people. So today, maybe the managers are not able to spend enough time with the people, particularly when it comes to dissemination of some of the information or any kind of interaction. Can AI, take up that place, where it can kind of motivate people? Because nowadays the BFSI, if you look at it, becoming the hardcore sales job. So in hardcore sales job, it's important that you need to empower with information, knowledge, wisdom. The kind of hierarchy, if I have to talk about. So it's important that we give that knowledge back to the people who are working in the front end and facing customers. So with a collaboration of human AI, uh, how can you improve sales productivity, and how can you improve your sales utilizing AI with some of the customer interactions, even for not only the sales conversion, but even for cross sell and upsell. So there are immense. I mean, the capability of technology is immense. It's more about making a beginning and just starting it off. So that's how I put it. I think it's more about understanding and embracing the technology rather than getting fear about what this technology could do.
Right, yes, absolutely. Good. Well, all right. I think we've almost come to an end. We've discussed quite a lot about, the first touch points and, the different interaction points in the whole of journey. So thank you, Neeraj. Thanks a lot, sir, for coming on this webinar, the second episode of our sales and onboarding journey. For to everybody watching this webinar, we have already shot our first episode, which we dove into KYC, VKYC, how KYC has been post COVID, how the compliance has been, what all changes have taken place. So thank you everybody for coming on this webinar, for watching. We'll come again next week with another webinar. So stay tuned for that. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, Arushi. Thank you, Neeraj.
Thank you, Harish. Thank you, sir.